Alright, so what's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. Now today we're going to be going over all the important information for Season 2 of Vanguard and Warzone. Now, I did say important information. I'm not going to be going over literally everything in the blog post. If you want to sit down and read it for yourself, then look in the description down below. I have a link down there. However, I've gone through the blog post, I've taken a load of notes, and this is everything that I believe is important for you guys to know. Now, just before we get into today's video, if you're new around here or you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you want to see more content from me throughout Season 2 and just the general future of Call of Duty, and that's the best way to stay updated on my content, leave a like on this video if you enjoyed, and with all that out of the way, we should get right into the video because we have a lot to cover today. So just before we get into any specific new content, I want to talk about this paragraph here, which is the first thing in the blog post for this update. They talk about how they have included various fixes, quality of life updates, and other features that all studios worked on in the lead up to Season 2. Such improvements will be similar to those leading up to this new season. A recent Vanguard update addressed low visibility due to smoke and fire, along with nerfs to shotguns like the double barrel, and as promised, you can expect communications across all lead studios addressing exact changes coming with this update in the week ahead. So it's nice to hear that they're actually talking about quality of life of the games instead of just bombarding us with brand new content. And they've also mentioned here that this isn't all the information. All the different studios are going to do their own things in terms of their own little patch notes and everything. This is just a sort of general summary for things in Season 2. If you want to know specifics like weapon balancing and, you know, just general balancing across the game, I suppose, then different studios are going to have their own times and dates when they want to release that themselves. So we're going to start off with the Warzone stuff. Now, the first thing is 2 new field upgrades in the form of MWII ammo and bombs. So we're going to talk about the ammunition first. When you down someone with this ammunition, it emits a cloud of gas, which is similar to the safe zone gas, so it'll have the same effects. So you'll be coughing, you won't be able to ADS, you'll be taking damage, all that stuff. So it doesn't actually do any extra damage when you're just shooting normally. It only affects the player when they are downed. It takes up an entire clip of your mag. So once you use it, it's sort of similar to stopping power in that way. I assume you'll use it, you'll reload, and you'll have an entire clip of this MWII ammunition, which, to be honest, it actually sounds pretty good for clearing out, let's say, like a room of campers or something. If everyone's sat in a room and you kill one of them, then all the gas is going to go out and they're all going to be forced to move. It sounds really good. There's a second thing with MWII, which is a MWII bomb. Now, they say that this is a very rare item. They put a lot of emphasis on that. Essentially, what this is, once again, it's a field upgrade. You'll throw it down and it will have a timer on it. You literally cannot stop this timer. The explosion will go off and it will have a lingering gas cloud for 2 minutes, which is a really long time. Now, I'm just sat here wondering, as a Rebirth player, if I pick this up in Rebirth, if it's even going to be in Rebirth, that is, and let's say I throw it down in the middle of Nova, is it like vertically going to travel the entire bit of Nova, or will it just do one room? I'm just curious as to the blast radius of this thing. Not necessarily in terms of the explosion, but in terms of the gas. Like, can I cover an entire building with this thing, or is it just a room? I'll be very interested to know, but I suppose that'll be something we learn closer or even at the launch of Season 2. Now, another thing that is a direct counter to, I think, both of these things actually, is the portable decontamination stations. Now, this is classed as field equipment. I'm not sure if this is a field upgrade or a tactical, I'm not too sure, but essentially all it is you put it down and it gets rid of the MWII gas, very straightforward. There's also this, which I'm not sure how to feel about, and there's armored transport trucks which patrol the map. They have twin machine guns which shoot at anyone near them. They have mines which they drop, I assume, on the roads that they travel around, and if the truck itself gets low on health, they call in air support. And once you do destroy it, if you manage to, apparently it drops really good loot and could even include MWII bombs. So it sounds like it will be a very difficult task to actually destroy these things, but it might be worthwhile to actually go ahead and do that, because you could get, maybe they drop advanced UAVs, maybe they drop specialist bonuses, I don't know. Next up, we have 2 new POIs for Caldera. We have the chemical factory, which I'm going to show a picture of on screen. It's between mines and docks. This one's been teased for a long while. It looks pretty cool, I suppose. It looks more industrialized and sort of reminds me of, say, like the lumber area of Verdansk. And the second one is the research lab. These are 7 underground locations. I'm not sure if they're all going to be exactly the same or not, but they all they sort of evoke the bunkers from Verdansk. I think there's only one way in, one way out, and they're underground. They'll probably have a lot of loot in them, so it's probably like a risk reward thing. You go in, get a lot of loot, but you could get trapped at the entrance at the same time. Next up, another couple pieces of content. We have bomber planes. not much else to say. I assume they can drop bombs. The second thing is Redeploy Balloons, which is a lot more interesting. Apparently these have a blimp icon on the map, and essentially what you do is you go to the location, you zip line to the top of the balloon, and you jump off, and then you can just sort of go wherever you want to from there. Now, these actually sound really interesting. Let's say if you're caught in a bit of a situation with another team and you end up being next to one of these, you can just fly up and fly away. And also, once again, with gas, you can just fly up and go somewhere else. It's very good, actually, for sort of repositioning. These things can be destroyed by bullet weapons or planes or whatever, and they say it costs a couple $100 to actually go ahead and repair it, so it can be repaired. I mean, these sound like it could swap up the gameplay quite a bit. It actually sounds like it could be a good feature for those more aggressive players. You know, if you hear some gunfire off in the distance, just fly up one of these, land on the roof, and pick them off. Very straightforward. We also have 2 new game modes. One of them coming at launch, I believe, and the other one is going to be later in season. The first one is Caldera Clash, which there isn't really much to talk about here. It's pretty much just Warzone Rumble with a few new features. Not too interesting. However, if you're someone who likes to play Plunder, or if you want to level up your weapons and you have Warzone, this could be a very good mode for that, because it's a respawn mode. And the second thing is Rebirth Iron Trials. Now, as a Rebirth player, this entire season sounds sick, but this in the specifics just sounds really good. So essentially what it is it's standard Rebirth, but it's to do with Cold War weapons. It's a duos game mode, and it has the same rule sets as the standard Iron Trials. So, for example, the higher TTK, which for me sounds amazing. And if you get a win, you get an animated calling card, which all sounds great. But I'm not sure about the just duos thing. I think an Iron Trials quads could be really good. Not only that, I'm wondering as well, is this Resurgence or is it just standard BR? I mean, either way, I'll take it, because Iron Trials is a really good mode. But I'm wondering if this is Resurgence or just standard Battle Royale. I believe it's standard, because they would have said Resurgence Iron Trials, but nevertheless, I'm still really excited for this, and I can't wait. Now, the final little bits of information here for Warzone, we have some Rebirth Map Updates teased, which has me incredibly hyped. They say substantial changes are coming mid-season, and we're going to learn more details about that later on. I have a picture on screen here, which is alongside this, and it looks like to me this might be some kind of underground feature, so maybe we'll be able to go under Rebirth Island or something like that. I'm not too sure, but once again, as a Rebirth player, I love this. I cannot wait for this. I don't think they've actually updated the map apart from like visually since it came out, so I'm really excited to hear this. And finally, they're getting rid of the gas mask animation. It's literally been almost 2 years, and they're finally getting rid of the gas mask animation. If you have a look at this bit here, Season 2 will include a number of quality of life changes, including having the gas mask animation no longer interrupting operators who are aiming down sights. So look out for everything coming with this update over the next week. This is fantastic. Not only just the gas mask animation, but once again, that emphasis on quality of life for Warzone is pivotal to this game coming back. Because, let's be honest, Warzone's success isn't as good as it used to be. It's sort of falling off, and I think they're realizing that it's the quality of life that is the issue, not the lack of new content, because there isn't a lack of content in Warzone. It's exactly the opposite. We have over like 100 weapons. But the main problem is some of the bullshit, like the gas mask animation and various other things which guys sit here and talk about, but they've been spoken by so many people. This is the real problem with Warzone, and the fact that they are focusing on that just makes me incredibly happy. So thank you, Raven, or whoever is doing this. Keep doing it. But anyway, that's all we have to talk about for Warzone. Let's move on to the multiplayer. Now, the Warzone is definitely the biggest part of this, so we can just whiz through these final bits here. The first part is a ranked play beta, which is being developed by Treyarch. I'm not sure if this is going to be on launch or mid-season. I don't really care that much because Cold Wars wasn't very good, so I'm imagining this won't be much better. We have 2 brand new maps for Vanguard. We have Casablanca, which is a medium 3-lane map, and it seems like it has quite a bit of focus on verticality, which I'm not sure if it's good or bad. I think with Vanguard's quicker pacing, that is actually a good thing. It can be utilized quite well. And secondly, we have Gondola, which is another medium 3-lane map. Apparently, you can get on the gondola, and they say like, oh, don't go off into the distance or something like that. So I'm not really sure if the gondola is just like a funny, thing you can just hop on for the memes, and so they gave it a map title, or I don't really know, but I guess we'll find out. We have a new kill streak coming in the form of the Bull Turret Gunner. Apparently, it's going to work the exact same as World War II's. So I think it's around about a 30-second timer. So if you enjoyed that kill streak, I do remember that actually was quite a good kill streak, they're adding that into the game, which I suppose mixes up the variety of kill streaks, which you love to see. We have a new lethal in the form of the sticky bomb, which is just going to be like a Semtex, and we have 2 new perks. The first one is Armory, which is a perk 1. They call it a direct counter to engineer, which I'm sort of curious what that means exactly. It says it's mainly useful for operators who don't just use weapons. So I imagine if you use like lethals and tacticals, I guess, and field upgrades, it's going to be useful, but they don't really give too much of a description on this. The second one, however, we saw in Modern Warfare 2019, I think Caldera actually. It's called Mechanic. It buffs your field upgrade charge time. Not much else to say about that. And finally, they have the Arms Race. Now, I believe this is the ground war mode that we've been talking about, and it's been leaked for ages. The details on these are going to come later. We don't have it just yet, so we can't really talk about it for today. Alright, it's time to talk about zombies. So they're adding the ray gun to zombies, which is really cool. So anyway, the weapons that they're adding to Vanguard now is the KGM-40, which is a brand new assault rifle, high damage per shot, 600 RPM fire rate, pretty high recoil they say, and it's useful for medium to long range distance. This sounds like the kind of thing that would be more useful in Warzone, but obviously it can be utilized in Vanguard as well. I just get the feeling that this is going to be more of a Warzone weapon. That's the same thing with this LMG here. They talk about it being very sort of cumbersome, you know, sort of clunky, mid to long range. Once again, probably better for Warzone. It doesn't sound like something I would want to run around in Vanguard in, especially considering it is a very high pace, it's a quick pace game. You don't want to just be running around with like a brick of a weapon. And finally, we have the Armor Guerra, I think it's called. I have no idea. It's a brand new SMG which is coming in season. They say it has an incredibly high fire rate. We'll have to wait and see. The high fire rate SMGs always seem to be the best. Now, in terms of release date, the new season is releasing February 14th. For Vanguard, you can actually download the update February 10th, 9 AM Pacific time, which is very early, but I suppose it gives us a bit of time to actually get the update downloaded. And 9 AM Pacific time, February 14th for Warzone. And I assume once that update actually goes live and you can download it, that's when Vanguards will go as well. So then you can just go ahead and play that. And finally, double XP on launch. They don't say what specifically. I assume it's just going to be across the board double XP. But it's nice to see that we get more double XP, I suppose. But anyway, that's going to do it for today's video. That is everything I wanted to talk about with Season 2 for Vanguard and Warzone. I personally am pretty excited for this. This all sounds really good. I'm hoping that Warzone can make a bit of a comeback of this season with their focus on quality of life. And multiplayer sounds not too bad as well. Yeah, it's sort of just chugging along as it usually does. But that's going to do it for today. So thank you guys for watching. If you've enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe if you are new around here. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.